My name is Emily. I'm a student at UNM. I grew up in Albuquerque, and I've always been kind of interested in what's going on in people's heads and why, and kind of how that drives everything that happens in the world. I moved to Colorado for a few years where I studied biochemistry and psychology because I wanted to be a psychiatrist, and then I kind of figured out along the path through various sources that that's not something that I wanted to do, and this ideas still really carry over into my work. So I moved back to New Mexico and I started going to UNM and studying art, and kind of figured out over the past couple of years that it's sculpture that I really love to do, and I'm really interested in the social practice, so things that really engage people and that you have to interact with, and hopefully one day I'll just be leading kind of more like workshops or like just group activities really where people come together and engage with each other and create community. One of my favorite artists is Lottie Child, and my favorite project by her is called Do Nothing, and she literally just asks people to like lay down on the sidewalk or lay down and hang out and do nothing for a little bit, and I think that that concept is really interesting and kind of in the vein of my own work as well. I've been really interested in the idea of utopia because we have so many issues as people, as individuals, as groups, and it's like, well, what in our environment is making us have this reaction? You know, like, why are we doing the things that we do? I guess is the starting point for the whole idea, the whole project. And so then I've been thinking about this for years, or since birth, you know, like whatever. Sure. And so I was thinking more and more about it, and I started making things that really had to do with like how you move through space, and kind of started realizing that the body is like our tool for experience. If we're given one tool, you know, it's like we have the mind and we have the body, and growing up I was raised like with the mindfulness meditation and things like this, where you're really like brought to be aware of like your consciousness and your mind, and like how you're doing whatever you're doing, and just like being really aware of your presence. And so thinking about that too, it was kind of natural to start thinking about, well, utopia, like perfection or like real happiness, comes from the way that you move through space. So if you are kind of always moving the same way and you're kind of stiff or whatever, maybe you're gonna like, you know, have a stiffer life, a stiffer existence, versus like, you know, dancing through life is kind of a little more joyful maybe. But I don't want to make judgments either. That's kind of a hard place because, and you know, everybody's different. I just kind of started researching other artists who do like walks and movement and things like that. And so Amish Fulton was one who I really liked, and he does like big walks and then just like documents them. And so usually when people do walks, it's more kind of like you do the walk and then you document it, or you have maybe tours with like maps that people can do, or maybe like a sound tour. But it wasn't as much focused on the actual movement that you're doing, and like the idea that movement is a key to. Kind of still debating about whether or not there will be any form of documentation of the walk in the gallery space. So I'm going to ask people to sign up online for a walk, and that website will come up a little bit later. But so you sign up for a walk, and then groups of people go out on these walks, and it's going to be twice a week. And then in the gallery space is a installation that kind of carries on the dialogue of what's going on. So it's kind of this really weird, it's supposed to be reminiscent of a body, and so you on the outside kind of have to like duck around parts, and like there's these weird lights that come down with like different smells and stuff, and then you kind of crawl into the inside, and it's like coming into the space of ritual and well, for me, what it feels like, this is a whole other complicated side of everything, but so, okay, let's take a step back. The walk is kind of seen as a way of breaking outside of your habitual movements. And so habits and ritual really play a key for me in like the development of this project, because everything that you do is really like a habit, you know, the way that you move, the way that you eat, the way that you interact with everyone. And so what I've kind of come to realize is that you really only really experience something when you break outside of that, even just a little bit, you know? And so the installation is supposed to kind of comment on that a little bit more.